What is good, everyone? OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to my village of Nintendo Switch and gaming news, P Ninjas. We've got some great information for you, so let's go ahead and get right into it today. So, Tomorrow Corporation's 3 Nintendo Switch indie games are awaiting approval at Nintendo, and they actually tweeted out a really funny image which shows off, I don't know, is it the Human Resource Machine or Little Inferno? I'm not sure where those dudes are from, but Tomorrow Corporation little dudes putting out Nintendo Switches into the actual warp pipes of Nintendo of Japan's building. So pretty funny there. They always have a good sense of humor, so this is what they had to say on the matter. So good news from the Mushroom Kingdom. We crammed our 3 games down Nintendo's warp pipe and are now just awaiting for approval. We hope to have a release date for World of Goo, Little Inferno, and Human Resource Machine soon. So these games were originally going to be at launch, but I do think Nintendo said, we probably should get a little bit higher quality when it comes to bigger indie developers on the system at launch to entice more people, and that was with Fast RMX in addition to Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, which actually has new content, whereas these are just reworked ports with some added functionality here and there, touchscreen, things like that. So it's pretty cool that they're going to be bringing these games. Apparently lots of people really like them. I've only played one of them, which was World of Goo. This was like one of the major breakout indie titles back on like the Wii, back when Nintendo was trying to understand what indie developers are and what they can do, and there were still some restrictions and policies. World of Goo came out and was like blew away everyone. That game had like 9.5s and 10s from some places. You can check out the review scores. It did really well just for its puzzle mechanics and just the type of game that it was. It was charming as far as what it tried to do in that genre. So it's good if they're going to come to Nintendo Switch. That's definitely good. The more games, the better, just as long as they're good quality. And all of these games, from what I've heard from Little Inferno and Human Resource Machine, are good enough. I've played World of Goo, so I do know that it's a good game. So let me know what you guys think about these games coming to Nintendo Switch soon. Are any of you guys going to pick up any of these? World of Goo, Human Resource Machine, or Little Inferno? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, next we're going to move on to some Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild news with Shigeru Miyamoto, and he says that he is a big fan of the tree climbing in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So this is coming from a Kotaku interview with one of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild directors. Quote, "My response to Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Aonuma was, you can do everything, but I had to sell it to them. How were we going to make this happen? And I felt like the best way to convey this to them was to show them that you could climb walls. We put rupees at the top of the tree to let them know that this is something we're taking into account, but I didn't tell them. All I did say, here, play the game." So the first thing Miyamoto did was start climbing, and then he climbed the tree, and once he was able to do that and see that he can go anywhere within a small field, he got how this game will play out. And that's how I presented it to him. When we first presented this to Mr. Miyamoto, he spent about an hour just climbing trees. We left little treats like rupees on the trees, but we also left other things in other places we thought he might go. But he just kept climbing trees, up and down, so we got to the point where we go, do you want to look at other stuff? But he just kept going. Once he got out of the Shrine of Resurrection, he spent an hour just within a 25 to 50 meter radius outside of that cave, just climbing trees. As you're climbing trees, you use up stamina, and once you run out of stamina, instead of just falling down, you can input a key and you start dragging down the wall. Even that provides another level of fun. What we realized was that instead of trying to make all these new ideas and building them from scratch, we decided to look at what we have, realize that there are so many ways of playing the game hidden within the world we built. This is an absolutely phenomenal story, and to me, it almost shows the type of probably anxiety that some of these younger developers have when presenting to Mr. Miyamoto and Mr. Aonuma. Can you imagine being that developer and be like, sir, we have this mechanic in this game. I mean, we're talking about the creator of Zelda here and the longtime series producer. I mean, that tea table could have been flipped over at any moment. You know how Miyamoto gets down. So the fact that he actually liked the tree climbing in the game was definitely good. Now, I will give my piece on this because I'm still reviewing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm still playing it. It is an enormous, massive, amazing, such a good game. It's so good. But yes, The climbing in the game, the verticality in the game is actually one of the best aspects of it to me, and it really puts it over the edge compared to any other open world game currently. Because if you look at a lot of the open world games out there, climbing isn't really a thing. It isn't really something that's out there much. And the games that do have you climb, you can do it so easily, it becomes nothing. So for example, like the new Spider-Man game that's coming out, or infamous Second Son, games like that, you can climb up buildings in like seconds or climb up towers in nothing because you're a superhero. Whereas with Link, you're not really a superhero, you're just a really strong dude that has the, the power, but really you're more of a normal person than those guys. Those are more superheroes. So the fact that you're climbing normally on there and you have the stamina bar and there's actual strategy into it builds a whole new level of gameplay that's not in other open world games. And even if you look at some of the other ones like Horizon Zero Dawn or like Fallout or like Grand Theft Auto, this type of aspect isn't into those games. The mountain climbing aspect, climbing up, trying to find things, having those little mountain ores to where you can go and extract money from them, the rubies and opals and all that, is such a good mechanic and makes exploring this world even more fun. It makes it even more fun and it makes it more interactive than any other open world game that I have played to this point. And that's where the innovation comes in. That's where this game kind of takes off compared to some of the other ones. Now, there have been games where you can climb up stuff. Trust me, I've seen them before. But all the different types of mechanics that you can do in Breath of the Wild, in addition to what they have already in there, like you said, how you can kind of climb up and you kind of just like fall down slowly, you can kind of scrape down. There are so many things that they add in there, that little layer. And I'll give you guys another example. Let's say there is a big lake and there's somewhere in the center of it. A lot of the times you'll see a raft, but in order to use that raft, you need to have one of the leaves. So what you can do is you can go get a woodcutter's axe or you can go get a sword, you can chop down a tree, hopefully one of the leaves fall off of that, and then you can use that leaf to blow yourself across and get to somewhere where you need to get to. Those are the type of little things that are put into the game that really makes you feel like you are part of the wild. Like that's the type of stuff that you would see like some type of Survivor or something like that, and you don't really see in open world games. Usually they'll give you like a boat or you can just jump across it or something like that. Heck, you can even use your own Chica Slate power to get across by using the ice blocks. So there are various ways to do things, but there's also unique and interesting ways within that. So it becomes a game in its own right, which I've done many times. I've actually in two different parts where I've actually used the whole leaf blowing part to and use a raft to go out somewhere. So that just builds like a whole new element of fun in my opinion as far as what they're doing with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I'm so happy this game is finally out because it's everything that I hoped for and more on there, and it seems like Miyamoto and Anuma-san also agreed. Alright, and lastly, we have some big sales news from North America when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. Now, I talked about the UK recently, how it doubled up on Wii U sales, but some thought it was a little bit low compared to other systems on the market and even compared to what Nintendo did before in the past. But it seems like the Nintendo Switch here in the US, their biggest market, is doing much better. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is pretty much their best. So we're going to go ahead and get into this here. So that did set a sales record when it comes to standalone game, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Nintendo Switch 2-day sales from the Americas is the highest for any system in Nintendo's history, even beating the Wii. Now, those are the 2-day sales. Now, for comparison's sake, the Wii sold 600,000 units within the first 8 days of sales in the Americas. Specific figures for the Nintendo Switch were not given. The Nintendo Switch version of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was the best-selling launch title for any Nintendo console ever, standalone launch title, and specific figures for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild were not given, and I just think that they have not given those yet. They're still accurately trying to track the data, so there's really no point in giving off the sales firsthand at this point. I think it'd be a better representation after a week or so, or heck, even a first month, just to see how things are going. But I do feel when it comes to all of this, this was going to be expected because it is a hybrid. You do essentially get two different devices, and you're launching with a killer app. And that's what I tried to tell people. Some were trying to say, oh, well, it's just not going to do well because of the price at the beginning, because of whatever. No, that's not going to be it. The reason why it's not going to be it because it's launching with a bona fide AAA title. A Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is worth $2.99 in my opinion to play it on the Nintendo Switch and to play it anywhere you want with different playstyles. So a lot of people felt the same. But not only that, it's not just the launch game, because a lot of people are focused on launch as if that's all you put your money down for a system. It's the whole slate of games. It's what Nintendo has talked about. It's not just launch. Yes, you can buy the Nintendo Switch for launch games. Yes, there needs to be more, whatever the case is. But the whole fact of the matter is that Nintendo has a slate of games coming out over the course of the year, not just everything at launch. And that's what I see some YouTube personalities even say, oh, well, the launch, they need to have more at launch. No, they need to have more throughout the year. The Wii U had a ton of games at launch and completely flopped right after that. Let's not repeat the same mistakes here, guys. We need to make sure that there's constant games throughout the year, and that's what they're doing with the Nintendo Switch. And I think that's the reason why it sold, in addition to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, obviously, but the fact that we're going to get Mario Kart 8 next month, the fact that we have high-quality indie developers as far as putting their games on the Nintendo Switch from day one, Fast RMX, in addition to Shovel Knight, that is very good, plus more games like Mr. Shifty, Pocket, Rumble, and others coming. But plus, like I said, Mario Kart 8 coming. In addition to that, we have ARMS coming probably in May, plus we have stuff like Sonic Mania, we also have Rhyme, and we also have Splatoon. Plus, we have that test fire beta in March. So I think that is the type of content that Nintendo fans want to see on a regular basis, not just everything at launch. If you look at the second half of the year, you also have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you also have Fire Emblem Warriors, and you also have Super Mario Odyssey. Those are really good games for Nintendo fans to say, okay, I can invest in this system. And as long as Nintendo keeps up the content, letting us know, giving us sneak peeks and looks at these different games, and keeps the indie games up in between and the high quality indie games, I think this system is definitely going to carry that momentum and continue doing well, because remember, this was a March launch. This was not a fall or holiday launch. When Super Mario Odyssey drops with the Nintendo Switch, oh my gosh, you guys are going to see it's going to have a massive sales period, because Super Mario is going to sell a lot. Looking at that, that is a homage to the N64 and Galaxy pretty much all put together. It looks so amazing, and a little bit of Super Mario 3D World as well. So it looks like they've really taken some of the best ideas from all of the Mario games and put that into a title. If you think Legend of Zelda is the only game that's going to move a lot of consoles, you'd be sadly mistaken. Super Mario Odyssey is going to do very well for Nintendo. In addition to that, getting more of the core Japanese consumers with stuff like Project Octopath in 2017. There's also a Tales game coming in 2017, and Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 coming in 2017, in addition to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So all of that shapes up really nicely, and people see a value proposition. Whereas with the Wii U, they had a bunch of old ports at launch, 2D platformer with New Super Mario Bros. And a mini game collection. So I think Nintendo is definitely doing things a lot better this time around than with the Wii U, and that's why you're seeing the sales increased so much. And I'm pretty sure it blew away the Wii U's first 2-day sales. So the momentum should continue with the games that we do have coming out, just as long as there's consistency. And once again, once Splatoon drops, I think that's also going to be a big telling point for Japan. A mobile version of Splatoon. You saw how well Super Mario Maker and Yoshi's Woolly World and other games that were on Wii U that were put on 3DS sold. Yeah, Splatoon is essentially going to be a console and mobile version, and that is going to do gangbusters worldwide, but really well in Japan. That's going to be a big selling point for Japanese gamers out there, and I think at that point, that's when things are really going to take off for Nintendo and Xenoblade and Mario, and then of course Legend of Zelda is still going to sell throughout the year, in addition to all the games that they've released. Mario Kart, those are all going to be evergreen titles. So looking pretty good right now when it comes to the Americas. We still need to see the Japanese sales. Those should come probably tomorrow at some point. We'll get something from Famitsu, and then at the latest Wednesday. So let me know what you guys think about these sales and all the different articles that I talked about in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and hit that like button if you did like it. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for the latest news, reviews, discussions, and more. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you ninjas for the next video. Peace.